Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schleckmer, part of the Athletic Podcast Network. This is a special pod, a special occasion here. I've got Jason Gallagher and Tyler Parker here to discuss Game 1 and also to discuss the bitter Mavs Thunder rivalry that maybe only exists between these two people. But let's start with the game. I think most Thunder fans want to drink the tears of Mavs fans. So, if you want to just give us your takes on Game 1.
Well, I was going to start this podcast off by complimenting you, but that's going to happen anymore. But I will say, I do want to say that since moving to Oklahoma, I've become friends with a lot of parents and stuff like that, and they've never really complimented anything I've ever done. But when I appeared on your show, the amount of people that were like, "I heard you on the podcast," and it's like, I do LeBron's as well, right? So, shout out Down to Dunk. Game 1. I think it was a really weird game. Jason Kidd is not good in Game 1s. I believe he's never won a Game 1 for us. That
is so weird.
It's so weird.
0-5.
Yeah.
0-5.
That's 0-5. So I think that there's always, as a fan, that's really frustrating. You always feel like the team is ill prepared. Sure. Now the adjustments are obviously very good because they've won many series under Kidd. But yeah, I don't know if Oklahoma City's like they're too smart. Their adjustments are going to have adjustments. You know what I mean? So it was really weird. I didn't hate the defensive, game plan, but I think that the early foul trouble in the first half affected them. A lot of Mavs fans want to use that as some sort of excuse, but the game was a 1-point game in the third quarter, and the game was called much more fairly in the second half. So not saying it was unfair in the first. Everybody calm down. I'm just saying. But on the Mavs issues front, it really kind of comes down to Luka. He doesn't look like himself. He's shooting 15% worse from three in the playoffs. He's not driving the way he normally does. He's not running the break not the way he was doing in the regular season. He just doesn't look like he wants any contact whatsoever. And I think if he's not 100%, then all the other stuff, the shooting from ancillary pieces, even Kyrie's play, everything else, Shea shooting a million free throws, like all of that stuff doesn't matter.
13 isn't a million, I don't think.
13. It's like a million.
Is 13 a million?
Did it feel like a million?
13, I can't.
It's close. We're gonna have to look into it.
Gosh, and so if they shot a million and Lucas shot 10, then Lucas shot close to a million.
Yeah, it's totally a lot. But on the foul front, not to totally go there. But like, I thought Kyrie's answer to it, because some Mavs person tried to bait him into talking about it, and I thought his answer to it was probably accurate, which is they lost Game 1 to the Clippers because they weren't expecting the physicality that they got. And so and I remember that game, they got beat up. That's what it felt like. This game, it felt like they went into it like it was the Clippers game, and so it's sort of just like what he said was, we just have to adjust to that. Like we were really thrown off by what he called was like, it felt like it was a regular season game when we had just gotten out of a series that was really physical. So I think that was probably part of it. They couldn't get in rhythm in the first half. But again, at the end of the day, if Luke's not 100%, it doesn't really matter. None of it matters.
Yeah.
That's my take. That was my long-winded take.
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
Cheers.
He doesn't look right. The amount of like tape and wrap and everything that's on his knee, like he just looks uncomfortable.
And he looks like he got in a fight with a lawnmower. Like it's ridiculous.
And he's fidgeting with it all the time. But he still played 41 minutes. Like he played more minutes than anybody. Was he gonna play 47 minutes in that game last night? That's kind of like one of my takeaways is, if this was a close game, was he gonna play 47 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he is a very prideful guy. So a lot of Mavs people were like, why is he playing 40 minutes? I think he's he is a really prideful guy. Like he hasn't stopped playing basketball in like 2 years because he played FIBA, like just like Shea. Like he's just kind of a sicko.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, look, the Mavericks are always going to be better with him on the floor, even at 70%. I believe it, but like give him rest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like,
well, it was his choice.
Oh, 100%.
Because they tried to bring in Exum for him. And he made eye contact.
Yeah, I saw
that.
Yes.
With Jason Kidd and was like, he was like, I'm fine.
And then
I'm fine, you know?
Yeah.
And a kid came up and like literally pulled on his jersey from the back like this.
You are sitting in L-Man's chair and you are like doing the L-Man, like L-Man lean back. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
I get it because you guys on the side have these fancy arms. You guys can lean back as far as you want. You guys have these things.
So good.
And
right
if
now.
I want to try to get cozy and like let it all, let it all out, I'm back here and I'm off the mic. And so I got to be a little bit more intense. That's fine.
Fan complaining.
But did you see it last night when
pod grifting over here
when Exum did get back to the bench? A bunch of like the second row assistants for the Mavs were all like,
yeah, it's okay.
What else can you do?
You can't do anything. And like if you're a kid there and Luka's looking back at you like, stop, what do? You can't. I mean, that's an impossible position to be put in. But yeah, he was grimacing a lot too.
Yeah,
it wasn't just limping. It was like he was he looked. It looked like he was really feeling it a little bit.
He doesn't seem as explosive to the rim and his shot isn't working.
And you don't want to have to deal with Lou Dort when your body's like that.
And you know what the funniest part about that game was last night? For some reason, I believe Luka was 5 for 14 at the time. For some reason, Dagnall decided to double him for a bit. And that's when the Mavs brought it to 1.
Yep.
And I remember I'm not even a Thunder fan. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, stop.
Like, it was one of the most confusing things. But I guess in the end, you guys won by 20. So he wins.
The other thing with Luka is like he can't be with the Thunder. He doesn't have somebody like that he can go guard in the corner and just kind of sit there. Like he's going to get brought into the action because all of them can kind of do some stuff with the ball. So there's no rest on the other end either.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tyler, what was your perspective of the game last night?
I did nothing that y'all haven't already brought up. I thought like the energy from Oklahoma City was pretty special, just in terms of getting to loose balls, winning a lot of 50-50 rebounds, like tap outs that led to, some offensive rebounds and stuff. I mean, that the Thunder got 16 offensive rebounds. Being the smaller team at pretty much for every minute of the game was impressive, and to see Wiggins come in and bump up the energy even more and just be flying around, getting into passing lanes, kind of playing some safety, Kaysen doing a little bit of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they just the guys on the bench, I forget what the final count was. At one point it was like, I feel like it was like 36-15 or something in bench points for Oklahoma City, but they just seemed really ready to go. And Wiggins coming in like that after he doesn't play in the first quarter, to come in and do that is just, it was just such a Wiggins sort of performance for like all the people who would hear his name thrown around by some like national media whenever it's like, oh, this Thunder roster crunch, somebody's going to get a good player out of this. And it's like, I wonder if they'll get rid of Wiggins. It's like Wiggins is one of 7 guys that played in New Orleans in a playing game last year. They're not getting rid of Wiggins. What are we talking about here? I get that he doesn't. It is that, sometimes he'll get a DNP for some odd reason, but he's just a really good player, and it kind of all the breaks fell his way last night, and the ball kind of found energy in the way that it does. And yeah, he seemed ready to go. If I tell you, like, I'm far dumber than Dagnall, and all of the strings that he has pulled thus far this season seem to have worked. if Gordon Hayward goes out before Aaron Wiggins during game 2, if I see Gordon Hayward go to the scores table to check in before Aaron Wiggins or Kaysen,
What are you
next
gonna do?
game,
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna be probably in section 104 with the rest of the media, and I'm gonna sprint down to the corner. I'll be like, Mark, you put him in again.
Are you gonna glue your hand to the floor?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. We can bond over, like your Hayward is my Tim Hardaway Jr. If I see him go to the scorer's table before Dante Exum, I'm always like, you can't put him out there with Luka. You can't, because then it's just a disaster. And it's not like, I think it's one of those things where when like he's got it, or he doesn't. He rarely finds it. As a Mavs fan, I've watched many, many games. The guy rarely is like, fine. He's either got it or he doesn't.
I would challenge Gordon Hayward to, when he catches the ball, look at the goal. Give it a gander.
Is this basketball therapy, like baby steps to scoring the basketball?
At least pretend to look at it. At least look in that direction. You don't have to make direct eye contact with the rim. Like, you can look at the backboard. You can look at the people behind the goal. Yeah. Just look like you're going to do something with it, because at this point, he's playing hot potato every possession. He's trying to get out of his hands. Like,
I think you got to run more things for him. That's my.
It has been a very strange tenure.
I know they got to keep him engaged and keep him ready. And what if somebody gets hurt and we need a guy who's 6'7", 6'8", and can handle it. And like, I understand why you're trying to keep him a part of things, but in situations like last night, when Wiggins comes in and plays so well, and then in the second half, Hayward still comes in before Wiggins. At that point, I'm kind of like, well, what are we?
You won the game by 20. So it's just like,
again, it was a 1-point game in the third quarter, though, I think.
Listen, there's a particular profile of a player that this happens to in Oklahoma City. A American white small forward.
You're saying
who was really good in college.
He's the Kyle Singler of the day.
He is. He's falling into the Singler zone.
Yeah. He's fully, he's getting into Singler was a uniquely, just what a dud of a, like, just on court.
So brutal.
On court.
This man's got a reputation. He's got a reputation in this town.
Yes.
You cannot mess with it.
I bet Kyle Singler doesn't come back to Oklahoma City very often.
He lives here.
What?
Yes.
Bro.
Kyle Singler?
Protect the rep of down to dunk.
He does. He lives here. Yeah.
Hey, this guy asked Kyle Singler, like, how do you live with yourself? Basically, Adam.
That's true. We are heading in that direction with Gordo right now.
Does he live in this neighborhood?
He does not. God. Oh my God. No. He lives in the city, from what I understand. Wow. I wish he lived in this neighborhood. Oh, man. That would be hilarious.
Does he still have that same hair?
Like the swoopy hair? I don't know. I don't
know that hair.
I do remember the hair. I remember specifically whenever he had the man bun and Russell Westbrook smacked him upside the head whenever he did something good in Mexico, by the way. Then his hair just went crazy.
That's right.
Shout out to Kyle Singler.
Shout out.
I have an illness in that I still kind of believe in Gordon Hayward. And some of that comes from the fact that when I watch him practice, the dude doesn't miss ever.
Yeah, he feels like the type of player that obviously if Oklahoma City continues to go deep, you're just like, oh God, he had like 25 points that night. Like, I think it's possible.
I'm holding out hope.
I do not think it's possible.
I think it's possible.
See, I'm on the same boat. I'm holding out hope that there's going to be a Gordo game where he just like one looks at the rim.
And I think a Gordo game at this point, we're lucky if he makes a couple corner threes.
No.
Like if he makes a couple timely corner threes and he's like the Peja Stojakovic whenever the Mavs won the title.
He won us that game. He won us that game in our championship run, which we did have a championship run. TBD for you guys, but we had a championship run. TBD. No, Peja Stojakovic totally won us a game.
I'm saying I think that's the only way.
It wasn't a couple of corner threes. It was several threes.
And what I'm saying is that I think it's going to be Peja Light if he's affecting the game.
Peja Light?
Peja Light.
That's tough.
Old Peja Light.
Okay.
Alex Spears is watching and he's in the chat. He said, Hayward is the most literal version of a connector. He only connects. He does not start or end anything.
I mean, he really doesn't.
I like that.
He does not want to be touching the ball. Like when you see him with the ball in his hands, he wants nothing to do with it right now. And maybe that'll change, but there's a couple times last night where you felt like, like he would wind up with Kyrie on him or something like that and kind of moving into the lane or something. And it's like, dude, just shoot a little pull up here. Like, give it a try.
Here's what's happened. We have hit the OU football zone.
Yeah. In what way?
And that the Thunder won by 22.
I know, and you spent half the time complaining about
Gordon Hayward played 7 minutes in the game.
You've gone off about Gordon Hayward and Kyle Singleton.
He only played 7 minutes.
He only played 7 minutes in the game. And somehow we have talked for more minutes about him than he played last night.
But look, sometimes you got to nip it in the bud. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to overreact. Sometimes you got to overreact to get things to stop.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
To keep it in this sort of zone, and then we can get positive. But like, is there anything that worries you about game 2?
I mean, the things that didn't work, like Josh Giddey was not effective.
Correct.
And whenever they took him out of the game, things were the offense just could breathe again.
Yeah.
And so if there is like an insistence on playing him big minutes and he doesn't have it, I think that is worrisome.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything else was like very encouraging. I thought Jay Will was great off the bench.
Yep.
I thought the trio of Joe, Wiggins, and Wallace were awesome. Honestly, if you just play those 4 off the bench, I think you're feeling really good.
I agree. I think the optimism for Mavs fans, if there is any, is that you just hope some of the shooting normalizes on both ends.
Yeah.
That's literally it. Granted, it's 20-point game again, but like you got to think that, again, defensively, I didn't hate the strategy. They sort of tried to clog the lane a bit. They did a decent job, but like I've watched so many Mavs games, I couldn't believe how many bunnies Gafford missed. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And so
with like Giddey on him,
with
Gordon Hayward on him, and with Shea on him, there were 3 all kind of bunched up where it was like they were the defender, and I thought, okay, like he's gonna like yam on them or something.
Yeah,
but it didn't happen.
It was one of those things where it's just like I feel like that should normalize at least to some degree. And if that happens, I mean, one of the funniest things that has been a revelation with Mavs, Twitter land in the last couple of weeks is that when the Mavs get killed like this, it is their offense, and the fact that their defense is like holding up, but the offense can't do anything, which is not something you ever thought you would say with a Luka-led Dallas Mavericks team. But that is the reality, is that they just miss so many shots. And what did the Thunder shoot from 3? Like
45%.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the optimism for if you're Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I think with like it feels Luka's health, like you say, feels like the entire thing. And if he's able to move better, then he's always someone who's going to make me scared, because he's as good as Lou is, as good as Kaysen is, as good as Jalen Williams is on ball. None of them are quite big enough to be able to like block his shot whenever he goes to that fadeaway off of, kind of these like slow bang, bang, post up kind of things. Yeah. And so because he's so big, he's always going to scare me. And Kyrie being able to get so hot so quickly, the Mavs will stay scary to me.
The Kyrie piece
for those reasons. But it was like, I didn't feel like the Thunder played just like far above their heads. So I feel good. I feel good in that sense. It felt like, they, like Dub closed very well, obviously, but he played poorly offensively for the most part okay, so that stuff kind of balances out a little bit.
I agree.
Chet was amazing last night. You hope that I don't know if Chet's going to go for 19 every game or 20. What did he have? 19 last night? 20.
Talking to the mic.
Yeah. Talking to the mic.
Yeah, he had 19-7. The two steals and 3 blocks though. Like he was great.
He was
great.
Awesome.
I'll tell you one thing. Watching Kyrie, when you're watching football, this is
man,
American football.
Yeah, I love football.
So whenever they go no huddle, and then this was like a big Romo thing, they go no huddle, score 2 touchdowns in 5 minutes. And you go, why don't you do that more?
Yeah.
That's how it feels with Kyrie sometimes, where it's like, why do we not let him go to work earlier? Like, I don't really understand, especially with Luka banged up. Why aren't we running a lot of stuff through Kyrie? Again,
I bet y'all do. And then I bet it feels
I'll tell you what, multiple times it felt like Luka was trying.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught this, but he would you could see him getting frustrated when the ball would go to the side, to the guy who's sort of like the big, who's on his side, when he clearly wanted to go over there. There were several possessions where you see him do that. They pass it to his guy and you see him kind of go like, oh, I guess I got to go get it now. And they play in that such a just one side or the other kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, really, that's one thing that I would love to see a more concerted effort to see them say okay, Kyrie is going to be our 1A tonight.
Yeah. And also there can't be lineups where there's no Kyrie or Luka on the court, right? Like, why did that happen?
Brother, I have no idea.
It was
and I wish I don't even know. I don't even know.
I mean, I think Jason Kidd's doing a bang up job.
It's a game 1. I don't know. Game 1s are his kryptonite. And it's just, it's tough.
Yeah, it was strange. There are also moments where Derek Lively is holding the ball on the wing and he's just standing there. He had a shot clock violation, just trying to figure out all right, where are we going? What are we doing? Shot clock violation.
He was really bad last night.
Yeah.
Uncharacteristically bad last night.
He got frustrated with the getting in foul trouble and everything like that. Yeah. He was visibly irritated with the way things were going. And then Chet caught him once at least.
Yeah.
And I think that was, I think talking about how Gafford, missed some bunnies and stuff like that. Like you were saying, the Thunder were active on the back line, but I think also there is some element of they know Chet's lurking around.
Yeah. He's around.
And they know that he's got good timing. And if they don't see him in front of them, he's somewhere closing fast. And he was especially active last night. That tip dunk, he almost had another one. I mean, he was. Do you find? I'm interested because I feel like I see it more now that I've gotten to come see some games in person. They miss him on lobs all the time.
They are horrible at throwing lobs. All of them.
But sometimes they're not accurate. Sometimes when they do throw them, but they also just don't throw them.
Yeah, and this is the first year that they've had a lob threat, and they don't know what to do.
There are so many times where it's whoever's on that back end for the Mavs is not going to beat Chet to the rim. Just throw it up there, let him go get it, and they don't throw it.
No,
they got a lot of notes for a team that
No,
I swear to God,
I'm so excited, but
if we just isolated Tyler's and just hey, listen,
think that Dallas won by 20.
Yeah, what do you think happened in this game?
Man, I'm like Mark. I just can't be satisfied.
That's right. You can't be satisfied.
But no, But do you find that?
Oh yeah, I mean it's been an issue all the time. The team gets excited when a lob is completed. There was one from Giddey to Chet last night, and it was it was beautiful.
It was fantastic.
But it's very rare. It's like catching a Caesar or something in Pokemon.
It's kind of exciting in that they're going to be able to tap that button at some point.
Yeah, you don't like my Caesar reference.
I don't have any good Pokemon stuff.
That's all right. That's
all right.
Pokemon
Charizard was pretty big time, right? That guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah,
he's cool.
I don't have much knowledge of it.
We got
Blastoid.
God, come on, guys. We'll talk about Pokemon later. We have a couple super chats. We got one from well 32. He said, "Kid losing every game won by 20 plus in his career is such a crazy stat."
Is it every game? I thought it was 4 or 5.
I don't know.
I think there's one game against Utah where it was closer.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I was not at that game.
But that was a great series for you guys.
It's Jason Gallagher.
And then one from which I don't really know. This guy was commenting last night too. He thinks the Thunder are going 16-1 in the playoffs.
Man, I would love that. I would love for him to be right.
Wouldn't
you love that?
This is 2 pods in a row.
Look, if Dallas loses, I would love for Oklahoma City to go far. I don't know if that's a realistic hope. It's a very good team still left in the playoffs.
I don't think 16-1's happening,
but they look really good. And I'll say that it's going to be really hard for someone to win on their home court. It's just going to be really hard.
Yeah.
The idea that game 1 Pelicans game is like as close as it was a testament to that. Their game 1, but it's such a hard arena to win in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and have a little bit of story time.
Is it like a real break?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was going to do a fake ad read then.
And we're back from that quick break.
Woo!
What
a break.
You guys feel rested after that break?
Thank you.
You guys, part of the reason why I wanted to do this is you guys have like some stories to tell about this rivalry that never really existed between the fan bases. I think it's starting to percolate a little bit. But you guys, there was a rivalry that existed long before this current, Thunder Mavs matchup. And I want to hear stories.
Okay.
You can begin.
You mean take it first?
Yeah, you start.
Right.
You have a better memory for these sorts of things than I do.
Okay, I'll start from my vantage point up through college. So I born and raised in Texas. We went to a school called OBU. And when I got to, this is my first time ever in the state of Oklahoma. When I got there, the amount of people that looked at me in my eyes and said, Texas sucks. I had zero Texas pride, zero whatsoever. Didn't care about anything, like just a normal guy living a normal life. And the amount of people that looked at me and said, Texas sucks, it got to me. And I was like, what are you talking? And I, in hindsight, I legitimately didn't realize it was the school. And people were just like, Texas sucks. And I was like, what do you got going on here? We got a beach, we got a desert, we got everything.
I mean, a beach.
We got it. Beach. Robert Durst has been there.
Quotes.
Okay. Anyways, that's where my wife and I met, Corpus Christi, Texas. Not met, but started going out. Anyways.
Nice, man.
So speaking of
love going out.
Speaking of my wife Kelly, she and I were on an off again relationship type thing in college. We broke up a lot, and then we'd get back together a lot. And during the off periods, she would find herself hanging out with Tyler Parker. And not just Tyler, but Tyler Parker and some other people. And I would be like, so you're going to like hang out with this guy, Tyler? I didn't know who he was, but I'd be like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to go watch Dawson's Creek with Tyler Parker. And I'm like, okay. And I couldn't stand Tyler. I couldn't stand him. I was like, cool guy. Cool. Dawson's Creek. Very cool. If you were in my shoes.
No, I totally, I think it's hilarious. Because what's funny is like, I was going over to that apartment with our friend Cal because he was dating Cassie.
Right. I know what the situation
was. I was just tagging along because they had Mountain Dew over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
and I liked it, and Kelly was awesome and Cassie was awesome. And like, So it was like, it was, there was nothing remotely romantic about it on my end. To think that you were stewing over it makes me so happy.
I wasn't stewing. It was an afterthought. It was honestly an afterthought. But but
yeah, we were hearing all sorts of bad things about you, man. We were just,
I'm sure. And so there was a kind of a dislike at first, but
he's a jerk.
Debatable. But so then we would then we became friends when we started living across the street from each other, and we started. We became very good friends. And what's funny for any Oklahomans who were around during that time, when the Thunder arrived, like I was a Dallas fan and I bonded a lot with Oklahomans who were Dallas fans prior to. So I remember seeing a lot of them change and being like, well, what kind of person are you then? What do you stand for? And I feel like Tyler was a little like that. You used to really like
I told you that I had liked Dirk back before the 2007 collapse. After the We Believe thing, because I thought he was like yelling at some of his teammates a little too much, and then I was like out on him for a little while.
Yeah, okay. So, anyways, but the point is that so I had like this weird my distaste for Thunder. I love the Thunder. I live in Oklahoma. Everybody calm down. But my distaste for that at the time, my like young 20 whatever year old self who you know,
these people had no loyalty.
I was just like, what are we doing? Are we just like making things up? Are we just like whatever? Who cares, right? Like, why are we even like just like let's end it? You know, who cares? So so I was like,
let's kill ourselves.
So I was like, don't do that, guys. Come on now. So I was like, I was really annoyed by that. And then, but I like weirdly loved the Thunder. I went to a lot of the first year games. I used to dress up in togas and they would give me and my friends free tickets because we sat at the top. We called ourselves the Gods of Thunder. And I went to all those first.
Wow.
Yeah. I was an early Thunder guy. Yeah. So I like the team. Russell Westbrook's my favorite non-Maverick of all time, especially when he was at the on the Thunder. I loved the Thunder, but the people in my life I would just butt heads with all the time. And then as they started to get more competitive in playoff series, and by competitive meaning we won a championship, y'all didn't. That is where true. Tyler and I's like friction came to a real head, especially when we were living together.
Yes.
And that was probably boiled on by a lot of things, but I would say that that we would use the Thunder and the Mavericks to really go at each other. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Because there were for the Thunder and you get really James Harden really bothered you. And for me, Jason Terry really bothered me.
The Jet.
And we would get into these we would get into these knockdown, drag out, like not screaming matches, but like, okay, all right, okay, so you're okay, all right, JJ Barea, okay, you know, like shit like that. And we would do that. And then Kelly wound up saying, Jason's wife Kelly wound up saying that we couldn't talk about basketball.
We literally couldn't
each other for a little bit.
She's drawn a boundary.
But it wasn't. What was funny? It wasn't just Mavericks Thunder stuff. There would be some Mavericks Thunder stuff, but wasn't there also like? Wouldn't there be some Blake Griffin stuff where I would be like, "He's good, man. Shut up." And you're like, everybody's acting like he's the best power forward in the league. And it's. Do you remember that part?
Yeah. No, I remember that. I remember that a lot. And I was recalling just because after my first appearance on Down to Dunk last week, a friend, an old friend of ours named Wade, he texted me out of the blue and he was like, it was so great hearing you. I remember how mad I used to get at you because he's a big Thunder fan when we would talk Thunder Mavs. So again, like I was kind of a monster. I've way chilled out.
The title chilled you way out.
It chilled me way out. I mean, like, look, I was like the worst kind of fan post 2006 when I thought like the NBA like rigged it for D Wade, Bennett Salvatore, just freaking getting paid directly from Pat Riley and what's his name. So I Mickey, that's right. So I was like, these guys would be watching. It wouldn't be a Thunder Mavs game. They could be watching anything. Suns, Lakers. I would be like in the back corner being like, you know, it's rigged, right? You know, they're fixing all. I was that kind of fan. I was really, and I had like a lot, you know, it felt like you had to go it felt like you had to defend your guy more, like Dirk, you know.
For sure.
And that's a little bit of you know, why I've gone such a fool this year with Luka, simply because I think some of the stuff like the national media says about him is unfair. You know, when that happens, you get a little defensive. So happened a lot with Tyler and I. And we weren't. My wife was like, "You guys can't talk about this. You guys cannot talk. Like, you can't watch games together. Like, it was like a real thing."
Yeah.
So we didn't watch any playoff games together.
We watched none of like when Dirk was just torturing Nick Collison. We were watching none of that together.
And then the next season, when y'all just beat the crap out of Dallas.
That's right.
Yeah, we didn't watch any of that together. No.
Is that because like you just didn't want to be around each other?
We would have been the friendship would have been in jeopardy.
it would have been like it would have been very
So where would
we wouldn't have been able to keep quiet in the same room.
No way.
So were you in the same house then watching the game separately, or was it like, hey, I'm taking the living room and you can go watch it at Buffalo Wild Wings?
In 2011, we were not in the same.
We were not living, but the
house.
next
you weren't,
one
okay.
we were, and we were definitely. It was definitely like somebody got figured out. I don't remember. I think I remember taking the living room a lot.
I watched. I think I watched elsewhere. I can't remember where.
But it was. I feel like I have this really vivid memory of one game that I was like on fire about. And I don't know if you were there or if it was right after, but there was a game where James Harden, I think Tyson Chandler got a rebound. He does this. James Harden falls to the ground and he is laying there like he had died, similar to how Chet did last night.
Yeah.
So, but Chet got hit.
Thank
Relax, everybody. But my point is that James fell like that. And it was so bad that it was the kind of thing where it was like a somber kind of, we got to go to break. They go to break, come back from break. He's kind of just getting up and they go, and there's like this much space between Tyson Chandler's elbow and his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what you cheer for. This is what you stand for. I was so mad. I was like, this is an abomination to the sport. They should kick him out of the league. I was like, oh man, I was so fired up about that. And we didn't watch that. Did we watch that together?
I don't think we did.
But I remember yelling at you about it.
No, they're definitely both of us have gone back and forth saying things like, how could you even cheer for that?
The Jason Terry thing.
The Jason Terry stuff for me, I would be like, you think that's cool?
Like the
like, I would just be getting,
you hated the airplanes.
I hated the airplanes. I hated the I'm not that good at defense, but we're on a run, so I'm going to really try to guard someone up close, and then I'll take a dramatic bullshit charge, and then every the home crowd gets to freak out and go nuts and everything. Like, I hated all the fake tough guy stuff from Jason Terry.
And NBA champion Jason Terry.
Did you guys ever discuss the Tyson Chandler non-trade? Like Thunder that he ended up going to the Mavs. Was that ever?
We didn't really talk about that much.
That
we kept it really immature overall.
Well, and that happened kind of before that happened before the Thunder got really good, right?
Yeah, it did.
And it was kind of, it wasn't there. It was definitely it's definitely been a thing that's been brought up since, like, wow, that would have been pretty nice.
Yeah. It's a huge it's like one of the biggest like NBA what ifs.
It's a what if that has gotten forgotten.
Yeah.
And that stinks, because if he had gotten there in 2010, whenever that, right? Was that 2010?
They traded for him in 2009.
Gosh. So if he'd have gotten there then and got to,
I know. It is a huge one.
He is awesome. I mean,
That's
everything Dirk needed was that guy.
Yeah, it's true.
Good times.
But then you don't get to have Perk.
That's true.
I mean, that's okay.
Dirk and Perk got into it. Remember that?
Did they?
Yeah. There was like a moment where they like shoved each other. It was great.
That's hilarious.
I remember thinking like, what is this?
What is happening? What is happening?
I mean,
here?
I do remember watching that game, that first game in 2011 against the Mavs, when Dirk went bananas and was
48 points on like 14 shots.
Yeah, so he got to the line.
Who's counting?
Yeah. Huh, that is weird. Dirk did get to the line a lot.
Did.
Huh.
And
but it was Ibaka and Collison.
Yeah.
Just getting destroyed all game. I remember being very upset.
One of my favorite shots from him ever. It's like a top 5 shot for me. It's in game 2 where he kind of pump fakes. I want to say it's like Serge goes over, Collison comes to try, and he kind of does this little sideways shot.
Yeah.
And they're both in frame, and it's just like that was like an unbelievable run. I genuinely do hope every sports fan gets a run like that, because I know that is the peak for me. Like, I'm now, everything else is gravy, which is probably why I've chilled out. No. Went to the Thunder game, game 1, and had a smile on my face. It was fine.
No.
Did okay.
So we're still waiting for Tyler to chill out. So if
Correct, he's still a monster.
we
I'm
wouldn't
still
have
pretty
have had the Gordon Hayward moment had the Thunder had won a title already.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
if my hand is being weighed down by some jewelry, then I can handle a few Gordon Hayward
He's
minutes.
still
Honestly, if you
control.
had asked me if he played 12 minutes, I would have said more. And then he played 7. I can't
played
believe
7.
he only played 7.
He played 7.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. And then there was like, Dallas wasn't very good. Oklahoma City was weird.
Mhm.
And now we're back, and I feel like we've been able to talk a lot about basketball.
Yeah,
We're back.
I think we've both matured.
He's still inviting my wife to go watch Dawson's Creek, which is weird. But I'm
Yeah,
just
but
kidding. He
that's-
doesn't do that. He didn't do that.
But that look, I mean, we have a special relationship.
Yeah, it's a good time.
That's amazing. Well, thank you guys for doing the show. This has been great.
Thank
This has
you.
been-
Thanks for having us.
Anytime.
buddy.
Twice in 1 week.
I mean,
Kids,
I
anything is
know.
possible.
This is
great.
a true
Anything is
true
possible.
privilege to come out here and get to see the DTD studios.
Yeah,
Yeah, this was a treat.
this is it. It's been great. Be sure to subscribe. Hey, we got a lot of people on the stream. Just hit the like button. That's the only
Hit the like button.
that's the only thing I need
Smash
you to
it.
do.
Do it. Hey,
You gotta tell 'em to
wait.
smash
Are you
it.
done yet? Can I say one thing?
Say it.
I'm standing too, by the way.
Yeah, stand up.
Listen, for your audience. I live in Oklahoma City. I'm a taxpayer. I love this town. I love the team. Please understand that I love your team. I love this town. Please don't come at me. I'm tired of
Don't
it.
come at me.
It's so exhausting. It's so exhausting.
You're
to
telling
wake
him
up
to
every day.
stay out of my mention.
Just like, come on, guys. Like I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. We go to public school. We love it here. We never leave it. What do you want? What do you want? I just like I was raised a Mavericks fan, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm raising my son in Oklahoma City, and he loves barking so
Yeah.
much.
There you go.
It's a lot of fun.
Cheers. Hit the like button.
It is a lot of fun. Hey,
Smash it.
on Saturday we are having a watch party at Fassler Hall
Oh, sick invite.
at
Ooh.
2:30 is when the game starts. You might want to get there a little earlier if you want to get a good spot. But come hang out with us.
Yeah.
Fassler Hall on Saturday. If you're not going to the game in Dallas, are you going to the game in Dallas?
Nah, I think I thought about it, but Mother's Day, I kind of
Yeah.
want to just be here,
Yeah.
and not do that. So I might come to Fassler Hall. That could be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. So join us at Fassler Hall on Saturday for a watch party. It's gonna be great, and we will talk to you guys again on Friday.